life gets messy. We're rolling along thinking everything's great. We've got a kind of plan that's in place and it's working. And all of a sudden, life happens to us. And then everything gets thrown into turmoil. Hi, my name is Susan McQueen Ray, and I am the founder of Susan Ray VA. I provide organizational and time management services. And one thing that I've really found about organization is that you have to want to do it for yourself. Not for your coworker or your spouse or your boss or your children or your sibling or your friend or anybody else. You've got to want to do it for you to provide more clarity when you are going through your day-to-day processes, and to be able to identify where things are in a short amount of time, and just to free up the spaces around you and have them be a little bit more calm. It's not always going to be that way, but if you have things in place and everything can go to its place, then you're going to find it a lot easier to keep it more calm. So you need to make sure that this is what you want to do for yourself so that you can find the clarity, be serene even when things are chaotic. So when you're organizing, remember that it's a process, and the process is different for every person. So what works for me does not necessarily work for you. And what you're going to find is you might be picking from here and from there and way over there, and you find different things that seem appealing and you think that you can do them. So you try something and maybe it doesn't work. Well, don't just say, oh, forget it, I'm a failure. You're not a failure. All you are doing is trying to find the things that work for you, that make it easy for you to flow, right? So maybe that particular process didn't work for you, so try something different. And maybe only one little part of something else works. We'll take that part and add another part and keep adding and refining it and like smoothing it out and finding all the things that work for you so that you come up with your own process. And you might do something one time and it works pretty good and you like it, but you'd be amazed. Your brain is kind of percolating because you've created this process and it's saying, I think I could do something better with that. And you might find another technique the next time you go to straighten things out or put them back in your place. You will know that these ideas will keep sparking. And so you'll keep refining and refining and refining, and you're going to have the best process that works for you. But it's totally a process. And it doesn't necessarily work the first time. And you've got to be kind to yourself and say, okay, well, that didn't work. Let me try something different. Instead of, I think our instinct is, oh, that didn't work. Forget it. I'm never going to do this. I'm not good at it. Just forget about it. Don't let those thoughts come in. Just try to find the bits and pieces, the parts that work for you, and kind of meld them in together and find that process that is like your golden rule, right? So there's a lot of types of different organizing that you can do. There's digital organizing, there's organizing of your spaces, there's paper organizing. So it just depends what is important or what is the biggest pain point for you, the thing that's really nagging at you that needs to kind of get done. Now you might think, oh, I can walk past those piles. Yeah, that's no problem. I don't mind if I'm stepping over things. But actually having chaos around you creates an anxiety in your subconscious mind. And so it's just kind of in there going, clean it up, clean it up, clean it up, because it just makes it crazy. Okay? I don't know how else to say it. And so be aware that you might be feeling this anxiety because of these unorganized spaces around you. What you want to probably try and do is make a list of everything that you think you need to organize. Like slap a pad of paper on the kitchen counter or something, and as you go by, just write on it, oh, hey, this just came to mind, oh, that came to mind. And don't worry about it if it seems too long. Don't let yourself become overwhelmed. What you're going to want to do then is look at the list and say, okay, what kind of time do I have? What thing can I do that won't take a lot of time that will make me feel better? So maybe it's just your entryway. As you walk in the house every day, there's just stuff scattered all over the place. Well, then take a couple of hours, write it in your calendar somewhere, take it for yourself. Don't let anything take you away from that planned project, unless, of course, it's a super emergency. But take that time for yourself and, okay, what can I do? What do I need to add here? Do things need to be in this space? Do they have another place that they can be in? Think along those lines. Where does it need to go? Where's the place that people are going to look for it? You might need to, at that point, purchase some things to make it easier to organize, but I think you need to take a look first before you go out to the store and bring home all these things that may or may not work. Get an idea, sizing, height, width, length. What is going to work? What do you need? And does it really need to be there? Take a hard look at that. How can you make your entryway as you walk into your home feel more calm and peaceful? Maybe you want to tackle your junk drawer. That's a great first project to start with. Take everything out of the drawer, have the trash bin near you, have a recycle, a donate, and get rid of those things that maybe you don't need anymore that just sort of accumulated in that drawer. That may require some smaller boxes. You might have some small boxes just laying around the house that will fit right into the drawer, or you might be needing to go out to the store to get something. But again, just assess what you need. Look at the space before you go off and you purchase all these things and you spend all this money. You don't necessarily always have to do that. And if you get organized and then you say, oh, I need all these bins and whatever to put my stuff in, put them in Ziploc bags, label them, put them back in the drawer so like is with like. Then when you get the chance to get out and buy the things or find the things to put in the drawer, you can just simply empty the Ziploc bags into the proper compartments, and there you go. Make sure to take measurements when you go to the store. So unless you're really great with eyeing how things, because sometimes some of those drawer organizers, they might be too tall for the height of your drawer. So again, make sure you take some measurements, be prepared. That's a great thing, to be prepared. And if you tackle one of those smaller things like the entryway or your junk drawer, what it does when it's done, it gives you this great sense of accomplishment. You will feel wonderful, and it helps propel you, move you forward into wanting to tackle either another small project or maybe you have a bigger project. And with big projects, remember, you can always break it down into steps. It doesn't always have to be done right at that time or within these couple of hours or within this 2 days that I have. Make sure you break it down into steps so that you can tackle it easily within the time frames that you have. It's really, really important to set aside the time. Don't think, oh, maybe I'll get to that next week. If getting organized is important to you, then make the time. Write it down. Pick the time. Sometimes, maybe you only have 10 or 15 minutes, but why couldn't you start sorting through that drawer for 10 minutes? Set the timer if that's all you've got. And say, well, what are the things I could probably throw away right now? A great tip is to have a box for donations. And as you're going through your house or you're going through that junk drawer or through that entryway, and the things you're not using anymore, maybe they can be donated. Start putting them in that donate box. Watch it fill up, get it out of your house. There are some companies that come and pick it up. That's what I use, because once I've decided it should get donated, I don't want it sitting around in the house, and I schedule a pickup and I put it on the porch and it's gone. Okay, so do things that are easy for you, because that's another thing with donations. You might have the boxes around your house for 5 years, right? Oh, I'm going to donate that. Don't do that to yourself. Get it out. If you've decided, if you've made that choice, get it out of your house. Let me talk a little bit about digital organizing. Our computers hold so much stuff, and our phones as well. So you need to make sure that your whatever files you have are organized. Maybe you have 10 screenshots of something that you were working on, put them in a folder. Maybe you need to go through your photos and delete some, or get some printed, or save them on a travel drive or something like that. Just the point is that, again, it's this visual. If you have too many things on your desktop, on your phone, you don't know where to find it. It's hard to find. One of the projects that I did for a client was to take all of the documents in her Dropbox. She had stuff in Dropbox, stuff in Google Drive, but she couldn't remember which was where. So we just took everything out of Dropbox, threw it into Google Drive, and then we organized Google Drive with her folders and her categories in a way that made sense for her, and that she knew everything was in one place and she could access it so much more easily. So just because things aren't in sight around you, there still can be disorganization digitally as well. So you want to think about that. You don't want your eyes crossing every time you try to open up your computer and you go, oh my gosh, where is this stuff, right? So that's just a little tip about digital organizing. Okay, let's talk pile sorting now. That's another form of organization. And maybe you have stacks of things all over the place. When I was working in a corporate job, I used to go in on a Saturday and go through all of my piles of stuff because it was just so busy during the week. So this is not like a slap, because we all have piles somewhere, right? Of papers. Papers. In this paperless society, we have papers everywhere. So when you have a big stack of paper and you want to sort through it, I like to get a card table and I just slap some categories or some boxes down or piles down, so I, put a sticky note so I know what I'm putting where. And I usually have a shred pile, recycle pile, an action pile, a file pile. And what I do is I just go through the papers and I just slap them into each category. I don't action on them. I don't do anything. I don't do filing. I just put them in the categories. That way, when I'm done sorting, I set aside a different time and then I take care of the stuff. I mean, it's pretty easy to go ahead and, put the recycle in with the recycle and put the shred in a shred box or something. But the action and the filing papers, I just leave until I'm ready to tackle them. So my sister-in-law has a great way to do this. In fact, I helped her figure this out for herself. Her office is off of the main hallway, which is right around the corner from the kitchen. And what we did is take the stack of file papers, we put them on top of the filing cabinet, and when she gets a break, when she's cooking or she's in the kitchen and she's got 10 or 15 minutes and she's going to set a timer so she doesn't burn the food, she walks into the office, because she's just right around the corner, and she starts slotting stuff into the filing cabinet. And the great thing about this, I don't think you realize how much you can actually file in 5 or 10 minutes. It is really amazing. Unless you don't have files set up, and then if that's the case, you would set aside another different time and create files for the ones you don't have set up. But if you've already got something going, then your stack of filing can really diminish and be gone in a very little amount of time. I think sometimes visually we just look at stuff and it freaks us out and we think, I can't do that. There's just no way. Now there's other things in the house maybe that you need help with. And maybe you can think about, well, what could I delegate? This goes for everything, not just in the house. What could I delegate? What can I stop? What can I eliminate? Do I really need to be doing these things? When we were young, my mother made my 2-year-old brother empty the wastebaskets. We all had chores and we had to help in the house. That made it easier for her, and it gave us a responsibility. My daughter has a chore chart for my grandchildren. And before they are allowed to go on their electronics, unless it's school related, they have to complete a set of chores each day. Now, they do get 2 passes every week. She resets them on Sunday, but they have to do things like make their bed, clean their room, enrichment, which could be practicing their instrument, or it could be reading a book. They also have to do schoolwork. They have to help mommy, and that's her choice as to what she needs help with. And again, that gives them that sense of responsibility. Also, it teaches them some life skills because they're going to grow up and be adults and they're going to need to know how to do things, right? So that is another way of delegating and getting some help. And of course, maybe it's not going to be done perfectly, but sometimes you just have to overlook that. And then when it's the right time, say, well, have you thought about maybe doing it like this? Be kind with your children if they're helping you out. Be kind with anyone who's helping you out. Even if it's not the way you would do it, there is no reason you should not ask for help. Make your life easier, please. Okay, now let's talk about sort of in the mindset when you get ready to tackle your projects and you've looked at your list, you made your list, and you've decided what you want to tackle. Sometimes things, even if you've broken it down and it's a bigger project, it seems really overwhelming. In that case, invite somebody to come over and help. Find a friend, a sibling, someone to help you out, a coworker that is not going to pass judgment. Okay? And maybe all they need to do is just be there. Maybe they can be in charge of the music. They can put on your jams. You can say, hey, I'd like to hear this artist, or how about this song? This is really energizing. Music can really help get you in the mood to do this work. It helps guide you along. It gives you kind of like in this impetus to keep going forward, and you feel music makes you happy. If it's really serious work and you're by yourself and you really have to concentrate, then maybe it's got to be more new agey, instrumental, classical type of music so that you're not trying to sing along with the words and losing your concentration. But upbeat music can really, really help you accomplish these tasks. And speaking of tasks, it's really helpful to keep a to-do list. There's digital lists, there's pen and paper lists, whatever works. Again, this is about what works for you. But having a list allows you to jot things down as you think of them, because sometimes we think of things when we're in the shower or just as we drift off to sleep, and we don't want to forget about them, right? So if there's a list around somewhere, when you get out of the shower, you can go write it down. Maybe you're not going to want to wake yourself up if you're just drifting off to write something down, but it helps you keep things in priority and let you know what you really want to do. Because again, that's another thing that nags at you, is when you know there's things to do. If you don't have them written down, your brain thinks you're going to forget. And that's a great thing even before you go to sleep. If you've got a list, a pad of paper or something beside your bed, because remember, you're not supposed to have any electronics in your bedroom, right? So you can sleep well. And write down the things that you want to accomplish the next day. And then your mind goes, oh, hey, they wrote it down. They're going to take care of it. I can just relax and go to sleep, right? This is all about empowering yourself to feel good, to find clarity, to find a flow for yourself, and to feel good about it. You should congratulate yourself when you accomplish something. And again, like I said, if it doesn't work the first time, so what? Who cares? Just try something different. Most things don't work the first time. And this is about you, your flow, your style, your technique, what works for you. All right, one last piece of wisdom. Learn to say no. Make sure that the things that you are saying yes to are the priorities for you and your lifestyle, for what you want to do. Don't make excuses. If you can't do it, if it doesn't spark you, just simply say no. What you're trying to do is create functional spaces around you and live the life that means the best for you, not for anybody else. You need to flow with it. You need to be happy in it. So make sure you do learn to say no. All right? I hope this helped give you some ideas, some tips. Take care.